Hi, this is Manjula Narayan, books editor, Hindustan Times, and I have with me Rana Safvi. Hello, Rana. Whose latest book, the third book in her Delhi trilogy, Shahjahanabad, the Living City of Old Delhi. It's really great. I mean,
Thank you so much.
find it all the whenever one goes to Old Delhi and you walk and all, and I keep looking at things and I'm wonder what is the history of this building. It might be an obscure building, but clearly it's old. And your book kind of fills that gap. You can just wander with the book, and it's like so easy to read, and it's full of details. I just love it.
Thank you so much. So, when I was writing this, when I started the trilogy, actually, my purpose was that I should give a voice to these monuments. Because it's not just brick and stones or mortar and stones that these buildings today that are lying in ruins are made of. People lived in them, they had stories, they had histories, and that history has been forgotten. So, today we just see them as khandar or ruins or something like that. So, that's how I started writing on it, and I've kept on trying to evolve and give more and more voice to them and make the stories better. So in this, of course, the big difference in the previous two books and this book on Shahjahanabad is that here I'm dealing with the living city.
Yes.
I'm not dealing with monuments which are untended.
Unlike that Mehrauli one
yes,
and all, where
yes.
people aren't living in
Not
those
living
monuments.
there. Even say the mosques and that I talked about in the previous two books are not. There no prayers are being read there. But when I talk in this book, whether it's a mandir or a masjid or even churches, they're all existing ones and all with people going there and worshipping there. So, and the houses that I talked about, the havelis, they have broken up, the original owners have gone, but there is somebody living inside it, whoever it is. So this time when I talk of a living city. So, documenting a living city became, and a city which has such a past of 400 years. So that became a challenge, and that became very, very exciting for me.
And particularly, like I told you before, I went to the electronics market, and it's such a crowded market, and it's so busy and everything. And I remember looking at it was clearly in an old place, and a haveli. So I thought, I wonder what it's about, and finally, I know what it is. What was it?
That is, Begum Samru.
Yes.
Her story is very famous. She was a dancing girl, and she got married to a German mercenary, and then she converted to
French, no? French.
German.
German, he was German. Okay.
German. And Reinhardt. And then later on, they got this principality near Minar.
Yes. You talk about I've been there. I've been to Sadhana.
Then after the husband dies, she becomes the ruler, and she converts to Christianity, and she becomes a Catholic, and she even makes a basilica there. That church is still very famous, and her statue is there. And this, the husband had a mercenary army which he gave out for hire, and it was hired by the Mughal emperor. After the husband's death, it becomes hers, and she leads it, and she's just 4 feet 9 inches.
Yes.
And a very diminutive lady, but with a will that is very, very strong. And so she keeps her men together, and she fights, and in return for one time when she saves the Mughal emperor, he gives her this land in Chandni Chowk, which was the prime land in those days, and she builds this beautiful garden house out there. And today when you go there and you see the hawkers and you see the steps that were so famous, it was built by this architect to resemble a stream or a river. They are now, like with people's labor sitting there for hire. So, and the frontage is all got hidden by these small shops. And of course, there was a bank earlier also. And that bank saw a lot of activity in 1857. There's a bank still there. But and even in the book, when I tried to photograph it, I had to go to the top of the opposite building because there is no space there to take a photograph there. So we climbed up to the top of the opposite building, and I climbed onto a water tank on that to be able to look down and take a photograph.
And this vertigo of yours didn't kick in.
Vertigo is there, but I try to conquer everything when I'm working.
Managed to without the...
For this book, I have taken all the photographs myself because, as I said, this is a living city. And the way I saw it, I wanted to photograph it like that. Like I tried to photograph the mosques during Friday prayers. so that you see people praying there. Even in the mandirs, the Jain mandirs particularly, I would go early in the morning when the devotees come there to do the aarti and the prayer. So because places of worship look nice with worshippers in it.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
is something that I wanted to show. And in some of even the Red Fort, of course, now that is desolated, so that nothing much I could do about that to show people there. But even in those frames, I've still tried to keep people in there. That with whatever frames, I would click a lot of photographs. Some, of course, for my research, because if I'm seeing 10 monuments in a day or 10 buildings in a day, it's difficult to remember everything. So when I came back and cross-checked, I had these frames which I could enlarge and see, okay, this is a design on there, this is what is written on this. So some of them for that, and also I wanted the perfect frame with somebody sitting in it, somebody doing some activity in it, a child playing or something, whatever it is.
So this is a lot of work. I mean, you've done. Of course, you've gone to these places multiple times. You've spoken to people who still live there, and all that, and you've taken the pictures.
Yes. So I had been working on these 3 translations. That is Asaru Sanadid Sir Sayyid's book on the Delhi monuments, then Dastan-e-Ghadar on the uprising of 1857, and City of My Heart, which is an account of 4 stories written in Urdu. So I had already been researching these places and taking photographs. So some of the photographs are recent, but some are also in the sense that I had taken them in 2017 or 2018 when I was doing this research. Especially the Red Fort. I don't know how many times I have gone inside and to take the photographs, to take of places which are now, of course, many of the places people are allowed to go to, but some of the places initially visitors were not allowed. So I went to all these places and took as many photographs as I could, so that I've used a lot of archival photographs from ASI.
Yes, I saw that.
So that you can have this thing of comparison of what it was and what it is now.
And you know what I found interesting about it, about this book, is that it's so accessible. Like, we were talking, and it's not clogged with the, sort of this dead academic language. It's really accessible, and like somebody who wants to walk around in Old Delhi and, can walk with this actually and look up monuments as they visit it. So it's a good size as well. So did you set out with that in mind, or? See, my natural style of writing is very simple. I find it very difficult to understand very difficult terms and terminology and very philosophical terms, and I have to look it up. So if when I'm writing, if somebody has to look up everything that I'm writing, my message doesn't get through, especially in a book. As you said, if it's to be used by somebody who's walking, they don't have time to look up the words I'm using or even the things that I'm saying. So that's why, as I said, my natural style is simple, and I try to make it even simpler so that everybody can understand. Because this is the book I'm trying to write, and so that it reaches the maximum number of people. And 80% or 90% of India talks in very simple language, whichever language it is. They don't use very difficult Are you
terms.
planning to get this translated into other languages? Because I'm sure Hindi and Urdu would do very well.
HarperCollins is considering Hindi at the moment.
Okay.
So Hindi, they are in talks with a Hindi publisher.
Okay.
Then maybe we'll think of other ones after that.
Because I mean, everybody's so interested in the monuments. I mean, when you live in and around Delhi, and there's so much. It's such a historical city, and so many layers. I mean, there's so much to discover. So I mean, how would you term yourself a popular historian who kind of brings it's
Yes, I think so. That would be somebody who is trying to make history accessible to everybody, so that, and putting the facts out there, because so many facts are getting distorted these days. So I just want to put, and I research a lot, and I research I unfortunately can't read Persian, so Farsi, but I access the Farsi translations. Urdu I read comfortably, so from the Urdu text and whatever Farsi translation that I can, I'm trying to put in as much of information about monuments as I can, because there's so much being written about monument that this was this and this was this and this has this kind of a history. So at least the correct history of each and every place. It should all be recorded. So that's, and also I've tried to record the voice of the people living in there today. So that, and I've also, another thing that you must have noticed in the book, I've also given how it was.
Yes.
That when Shah Jahan lived in it, how his
Yeah.
darbar would have happened, how the garden would have looked, because 80% of the Qila'e Mubarak or Red Fort was destroyed
Yes.
after the uprising of 1857
Yeah.
by the British.
And you also said what the British introduced in those places.
Yes.
As well, so that was interesting.
So,
there was a garden here.
So that because people who go there, the visitors who go there, and the Red Fort sees a lot of visitors daily. Most of them have no idea, because when you go in there, you just wonder what's the hangama all about, because there's just 10 buildings standing inside here. And this was a place where every inch of it had something or the other. And now all that has gone.
Yeah.
So, so people should realize that this is what this entire fort was like, and it was a very, it's been described by James Ferguson, who's a very famous 20th century historian of architecture. Diwan-e-Khas, he says, is the most beautiful building in the world. And today, if you go and see it, you wonder what is the fuss all about. And then you have that inscribed over there, Agar Firdaus Barwe Zami Ast, Hami Ast, O Hami Ast, O Hami Ast. So, like, what is all this about? So I've tried to investigate that verse also. Who wrote it?
Okay. So everything that somebody who comes to Delhi and, who's wandering around lanes would wonder about, I think you've tried to, like,
yes,
sort of.
Including food.
Yes, including food.
Food, festivals, everything. And what were the festivals like? The syncretic culture of Purani Delhi. And because Shahjahanabad always had a very syncretic culture right from the beginning. So I've tried to capture that also. Like when I talk to the people living there, and the food and everything is very syncretic there. So I've tried to capture that.
Okay. And also, I found it interesting, like those first floor mosques, and you're talking about that, and also how some of the mosques have been completely, like, kind of shocking. Not kind of, it is very shocking. It just shows our lack of respect for our history completely. How we can just take something which is Lodi period and tile it and change it completely. I don't know, but it's interesting to know that has been done.
That has been done in
I wouldn't even know that.
It's been done in many places. You see, so many times, because I was referring to Bashiruddin Ahmad, who wrote a book in 1917. So Waqiyat-e Delhi, Waqiyat-e Darul Hukumat-e Delhi. So he wrote 3 volumes. So I used that as a reference. I would go looking for places based on his book, and then I wouldn't find it at times. And then I would have to ask, where is this, and then we'd be told, okay, this one. And then you would suddenly realize that a small mosque which he had described is now this huge tiled mosque, and they have changed it over the years, because for them the main the thing is the worshippers, the comfort of the worshippers. For me, it's the architectural value which is more important, but for them it is that the people who come to pray, who come to do the namaz, should have
it's a very difficult thing, because temples, mosques, this is constantly happening. I've seen it across the country, and people like us will look at it and say, oh my god, look at that spire, or look at that dome, it shows that it's old, but what have they done? I suppose you can't.
So that's the constant thing, whether you care about the living or you care about the past. Who do you look after first? Those who are living here, or those who have gone away? Or their memories, or comfort of those who are living now and making their own memories?
Difficult question. You'll get called, all sorts of things as usual. So how long did it take you to do this book?
As I said, I've been researching Old Delhi for Shahjahanabad for 3 years, since 2016. The writing part took a year. And in that, I used to do, every week I would go, on the particular days I would go for photography, because I would fix with somebody there, Abu Sufyan, who is, his grandmother is a Mughal descendant, great-grandmother is a Mughal descendant. So he has been living there all of his life. His family had been living in Shahjahanabad after 1857. Before that, as I said, his great-grandmother was inside the Qila. Ashok Mathur, who is a 5th generation Shahjahanabadi. So with these two, I would fix with them that I'm coming, and then whichever days were comfortable for them. And those 2 days a week, we would research on the field work. So go and photograph, look at the buildings, and they took me to so many. I would just say, like this Bashiruddin Ahmad is talking of such and such buildings. Okay, we'll take you there. And I was lucky that in some places I was able to gain access, like Mir Panchakash's Haveli. Now, Mir Panchakash was a contemporary of Bahadur Shah Zafar. He was an ace calligrapher.
Okay.
He was, his calligraphy was famous throughout the world because even the British would ask him to sometimes do it. He was killed in after 1857 by the British. After the fall of Delhi, when the British entered Shahjahanabad, he was amongst those who were killed. And he was buried in his own house. So Pahadi Imli Ilaka, that just near Matia Mahal, off Matia Mahal, that one entire slope was his Haveli, huge Haveli. And he had written the inscriptions for the house himself. But that after partition now has got divided. So one part is an MCD school, the other parts are small workshops. Most of Shahjahanabad actually has now been turned into workshops. So
yes, I've noticed that.
So this part where his grave was also some person working in one of the workshops is living there, and just to be always close.
What? He's living next to the grave?
Yes. So once I saw it open and asked him, I said, can I go in? And he allowed me, and we went, and I wanted to make sure that, like the grave is there. And the grave was there inside that. So, then a couple of other places which are normally locked for people. So we were very lucky because I kept on and going, and I was very persistent. So I was able to see many portions of Shahjahanabad which are now locked up, and people are not allowed to go in.
Oh. But I suppose it's not a bad thing to be living next to the grave of a ace calligrapher.
Yes, of course.
Why do you get such a chance?
But if you go to Mehroli, people are living with graves inside the houses.
That's
so
true.
So that is actually not
not
so strange. I think the dead and the living are quite comfortable with each other. That's why you have so many tombs, because you consider them your patron saint.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye. And great pictures also.
Yes. This especially, I'm very happy with this one.
Yeah, the cover's
This
nice.
is from Jama Masjid. It's a picture from the Minar of Jama Masjid, which again with my vertigo I did climb up. It was taken by Nikhil Arora, the photograph.
Yeah.
He's a young photographer, and I climbed up to the top of the spire with him, huffing and puffing, and managed to got this great photograph from there.
Nice.